Do you sometimes get that feeling inside when you've just started to date someone, or maybe you've been dating for a few weeks, a few months, but you know something isn't quite right? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about red flags and talk about 5 red flags that you should never ignore. Okay, my name is Andrea and I'm the Fearless Love Coach. I show strong single women how to love without fear to attract and keep Mr. Right. So, red flags. If you ignore red flags, I guarantee it's going to be a disaster down the line. When I've interviewed couples, when I've interviewed people who are married and then end up getting divorced, I've asked them, did they pay attention to red flags at the beginning? That's when those light bulbs go off in their head, because they know they ignored red flags, signs that would tell them that their relationship wasn't going to work, that their relationship was going to be unhappy. So let's start from the beginning, when you just started dating. Maybe you've just gone on a first date. And he says to you, maybe we'll meet up sometime soon. You know what should go off inside of you? Alarm bells. Do you hear that? I know you've experienced that. The alarm bells ringing inside of your mind. You get this feeling that something isn't quite right. If he said, maybe sometime soon, that's a massive indication of his level of interest in you. You know at some point this guy's going to disappear. Maybe after he's had sex with you. Maybe he doesn't even get past the first date. But the problem is when you start thinking, oh, we're going to see each other again, especially if you like him, and then you don't hear from him again, that's when it gets painful. That's when you feel disappointed. But if you listen to that voice inside of you, you know, that intuition that you have, that gut feeling that you have, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you heard a phrase like that and you go, okay, I know this guy's not going to bother, or he's not invested, you would just take it all with a pinch of salt. It just wouldn't bother you, would it? No, it wouldn't. And I'd like you to be relaxed around dating, about getting into relationships. So that was the red flag number 1. Red flag number 2. How many times have you heard this? When he said he's not ready. Did you hear that? Alarm bells ringing when he says he's not ready for a relationship. The part that typically he will miss out is the with you part. You know, that's the part that's painful, right? You don't want to hear it. When he says he's not ready, that's... You heard it, alarm bells ringing. Pay attention. Listen to what he's saying. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to overthink about it. Take his word as what he says. If he said he's not ready for a relationship, and you continue to see him, and you continue to have a sexual relationship with him, you're going to get hurt, guaranteed, down the line. And then when you say you want something more, if you say, I thought we were in a relationship, you know what? He can rightly say to you, but I told you I wasn't ready. And that's going to hurt. That's really going to hurt further down the line. So I want you to start paying attention to these red flags as early as possible. When you get that gut feeling, especially when it's a clear message like that, pay attention. It's not going to work if you continue on with that scenario. Let's move on to the 3rd one. Let's say you've been dating for a while. Say, at least a couple of months. And then he introduces you to his friends. But what he says is, this is my friend. There you go. What do you hear? Is that sound getting louder? Yes, it is. That is massive. You've been seeing him for a while. You're having a sexual relationship with him. And then he introduces you as his friend. What? So does he often have sex with his friends? Is he having sex with his male friends as well? Do you know? Because he's putting you in that same bracket as like, he's just a mate, just a buddy. You don't want that. That's painful. But it becomes more painful when you stay, when you stick around. That's the problem. The problem is not that there are red flags. The problem is when you ignore them. And I know that you're ignoring them. That's why you're getting into these situations. If you find yourself constantly in going nowhere relationships, you're ignoring these red flags. And it gets harder the older you get. It gets harder the longer you stay in these types of connections. It's just so painful. You end up feeling disappointed, feeling really hurt. It affects your self-esteem, your confidence goes down. It's this perpetual cycle. It's like you're on this wheel and you can't get off. And I want that pattern to stop. I want you to break that pattern, right? So, number 4. You've been dating for a few months and then he suddenly starts to get busy. He suddenly has a lot of work to do. You know what you should be hearing? There we go. You know exactly what I'm talking about now. You're getting it, right? Major red flag. If he suddenly starts to get busy and you hear from him less and less, you know, he's doing the slow fade out. Instead of ghosting you, which is when you just don't hear from him, he'll just be really busy and not have time for you. And he's just doing the slowed fade out. Maybe he started seeing other women, or maybe he is busy doing other things, but you've become down. You've become less of a priority in his life. So pay attention. And I'm going to talk about the final red flag, number 5, when there suddenly starts to be a lot of drama in his life. When suddenly things start happening, like really big things, and that he just can't seem to see because of this drama. You know what I'm going to do, right? Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. Red flags. I've seen this happen so often. It's absolutely quite fascinating to me. Anytime one of my coaching clients come to me and they tell me, they say, Andrea, he's got this going on and this has happened and now this has happened. I say, do you know what? Stop right there. That's a red flag. Because if suddenly all these dramas seem to be happening and then he can't see you, he's not involving you in his life, that's a red flag. Of course, if things happen, a little bit of patience, but this will start going on for a while and then you'll get the fade out. That's what will happen. So those are the 5 red flags. And I've asked you to pause. So just to illustrate and just to make sure you've got the point of what I want you to do, any of those red flags you're going to hear. But just to make it even more powerful, next time I want you to stop. Stop what you're doing. Pause. There we go. I made the point there. Just stop. That's what you need to do. Stop rushing into the relationship. Pull back. Step back. Take some time to actually think about things. You're going to get caught up in your emotions. I guarantee you that. You'll probably start wanting to chase him and start to grab him. It's never going to work. What you need to do is pause, stop, take a step back, and start to take care of yourself. Start to ask yourself, what is it that you really want? What is it that's going to make you happy? And then you take steps to work towards that, either with him or without him. So thanks for watching my video with those 5 red flags to pay attention to. I think you get it now, right? So anytime you hear them, you know exactly what to do. So get yourself off that dating disaster. Get yourself off that treadmill, because I want you to find, attract, and keep your Mr. Right. My name is Andrea and I'm the Fearless Love Coach. And I show strong women how to attract and keep Mr. Right, and to love without fear. So for now, I wish you well and I want you to find love and stay in love.